Houston.
30 years.
I'm gonna go right over there.
I'd say in front of the podium there,
Okay.
or whatever makes you feel comfortable. It doesn't matter.
I've seen them both places. I didn't know.
They call that, you guys have St. John's call that little Mexican.
But do we need to turn that podium around for her to present out to everybody?
I hadn't had a scanner on 10 or 15 years. Used to when I had my scanner, they were constantly all night. That's right. Domestic issues. I'd hear the scanner and it's a trailer for it. And sure enough, sure it is going. It does work. It looks like that's thinned out a little bit. And it looks a lot like whoever's bought it for some of those old junkers out. Yeah.
Thank you all for coming tonight. I see we have a big crowd, and I appreciate that. I'm always excited about having the community come and see what this wonderful board does for our students. Before I have officially do the meeting, I want to take a moment of silence just to kind of reflect on the past of what's happening overseas. It's kind of amazes me that what one leader can do to another country, and it really breaks my heart, and most of y'all's too, that he's doing to these two children and the families and to their homes. And also just want to reflect and have a moment of silence to reflect on the future of our school system. It's looking bright. And a little bit of story behind that. Monday morning, as I got out ready for work, I looked across the street and I noticed the parking lot was cram-packed. There was people parked in front of the school, there was people parked behind the school, and also over here as well. And it kind of makes us as a board members proud to see that our leaders and our supervisors and our teachers spend that little bit more extra time to educate our students. And I appreciate that on the bottom of my heart and from the board members. So if you will, please have a moment of silence, and after that, we will do the pledge. Thank you. If you just stand, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please call roll.
Mr. Caruso?
Here.
Daniel?
Here.
Davis?
Here.
Dryden?
Here.
Hartsfield?
Here.
Jacobs?
Here.
Mabry?
Here.
Nidert?
Here.
Rochelle? 8 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. I believe we have a quorum. For our first meeting on the agenda is the retired teacher, and that would be Ms. Vicki Vanis.
It takes longer than I can stand up here to tell you everything Vicki's done. So I kind of put it in short form. Good afternoon. Tonight I have the great privilege and honor to recognize and award Ms. Dr. Vicki Mattis with the Ethel Benson Retired Teacher Award. Dr. Mattis majored in English and received advanced degrees in administration and supervision from UNH and Rebecca University. She graduated from Tennessee State University in 2005, obtaining her doctoral degree in curriculum and instruction from the Division of Teaching and Learning. In August, in her tenure as an educator and instructional leader in Lawrence County, she helped countless students and teachers with her love of learning and caring nature. Her ability and work outside of the classroom are honorable and numerous, including being a finalist for Director of Schools, South Central Supervisor of the Year, Advanced Certified Evaluator and Graduate of Leadership, Lawrence County. She taught many grade levels throughout the state, was a special educator, supervisor, and adjunct instructor. She also initiated the education program at E.O. Kaufman Middle School. She retired from Lawrence County School System in July 2017, credited 45 years in the field of education. Although she continues to teach an adult Sunday school class, she states that all days are now like weekends, and her time is to do whatever she wants to with no time limit. She especially enjoys being in service of her 6 grandchildren and stays knowledgeable of educational practices through her daughter, Michelle, and a school psychologist with our school system. Her son-in-law, Eric Snyder, who teaches South Lawrence Elementary. Grandchildren, Jess and Lonnie Snyder, 8th graders at South Lawrence, and Maddie enrolled at Columbia State. Her oldest granddaughter, Libby, I can't pronounce her last name, Lyoma, attends UNA, and Brock recently received certification as a journeyman plumber in the state of Alabama. Her daughter, Brittany Bryson, a former speech therapist with our system, is the director of rehabilitation and a speech pathologist with Wayne County Health and Rehabilitation Center in Waynesboro. And her husband Brian operates a chicken farm in Collinwood, another work experience. She has said her retirement, which she claims as remarkable. Her granddaughter Kate Bryson also keeps her easy and active in middle school basketball and pageantry that has allowed her to travel to Las Vegas, Nevada, and Orlando, Florida numerous times. Her presence in Lawrence County School System is greatly significant, but her impact and legacy as a difference maker continues forever.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Now we'll have our family come out. Grandkids, everybody, y'all come on. I'm going to finish calling you guys. Let's just go back. This is my life now. Very good. Okay, guys, ready? 1, 2, 3. I'll take you
Congratulations, Ms. Bennett. Our next is the student recognition from Lyoma Elementary and South Lawrence. So we have Lyoma Elementary first.
Mrs. Reed, you can turn that around and face this way.
Good afternoon. First of all, Ms. Burns would love to attend tonight, but she is the proud grandmother as of earlier today, so just wanted to let you know where she is. When I sent her a text earlier, she was in the room, I think, holding the little fella, so just know that's where she's at right now. Lyoma is proud to recognize a student Mr. Logan Long. And Logan was nominated by multiple staff members at Lyoma Elementary for this honor and this award. And I'm very excited about introducing him tonight. He's always been a part of Lyoma Elementary. He has a contagious smile. It's the first thing you notice when you see him walking down the hall. He'll smile at you. He lights up our classrooms, our hallways, the cafeteria. He's laughing throughout the building. He's very excited. He always has been one to stand out for many reasons, but we'll go with the smile and the optimistic attitude. He's always energetic and excited to be at school. He's a very helpful young man. Ms. Burns was talking about one day she was trying to carry a box. And if Logan walks by, he always offers to help her out, to tote the box. And like she said, to be transparent and honest, he possibly could have been trying to get out of class. But he did offer to help. And he always offers to help out everyone. I've seen him in the cafeteria personally, help pick up stuff, pick the trash up, help other students. He is also very active in our school. He plays on the football team. He won the Quad County All-District this past season. He also is on our basketball team. He was on the All-District team for this year. He was also selected for our 8th grade class in homecoming. He is also one of our representatives for Mr. Atkins' Student Advisory Committee. He is very active in FCA. He shows leadership by leading Bible studies, prayer, and organizing See You at the Pole. He is quick to bring others together in huddles, group hugs. You can always hear him cheering for his teammates and others. All these things are worthy tonight, but the main reason we really want to nominate is because Logan is because he's a great role model. And I'm going to give you several examples. The younger students we have especially at pre-K. And Logan has been able to connect with these students in amazing ways. Last year we had a young man that would not leave his mom. I mean, just absolutely refused. Logan was the one student, the one person we had. He bent down, started talking to him, and was able to get the young man to leave mom and go to class. Logan took his hand, walked him to class, and was sat in the classroom and played with him until he was calm enough to go ahead and start his lesson. And we honestly started doing it I can actually tell you which days he was able to do it. Every day the student attended, we had Logan waiting in the front lobby of the gym to get this young man to take him to class. And the student loved Logan and would wave it, hold his hand, and walk him to class. We see Logan all the time tying shoes for little ones. They'll be walking down the hall and he'll stop and tie their shoes. Let a younger child in front of him or help them when they need help. Probably the week before spring break, he was on the bus, had a younger student get sick. Logan stops, comforts the young student, tells her it's going to be okay, gets her off the bus. And a little bit later, the nurse says, here we see Logan walking up with a pink and purple unicorn backpack. He had realized she left her backpack on the bus, brought it to the young lady so she would have her backpack. And so these are some of the great things Logan has been able to do for us. During basketball season, we were he was about to throw the ball in during the game, and we hear this little kindergartner go, Logan, hey Logan, hey Logan. Logan is about to take the ball from the referee. Logan stops, waves at him. Little boy just starts running, smiles, and runs across the court. Made his day. We had Read Across America Day just last few weeks ago. And a young student that was partnered with Logan, he said, it was my dream to read with you. And this just shows what kind of a positive presence and impact Logan has at Lyoma Elementary. And when a student realizes dreams that he wants to read with him, that's a wonderful thing. Miss Gobble, our 8th grade math teacher, said, Logan has an amazing ability to recognize the needs of others, but especially those of other younger students. He is more than willing to walk them to class, tie shoes, and just give them a high five. Our guidance counselor, Miss Lisa, we have new students. If she is able to meet Logan in the hall, she will stop Logan. Logan introduces, gives him a high five, welcomes them to Lyoma, smiles at them, makes them feel better about a transition that's sometimes very difficult for these students. Logan is just a great example of a great young man. And the thing is, these seems like some little things, but this is very important to us because he's a great role model for our kids. And his grandparents are here, Mr. Long, Mr. and Miss Long, Joey. He has a brother, Braden, older brother, younger brother, Zane, and a younger brother, Eli. And he's great with all of them, but we just want to recognize Logan for his contagious attitude, wonderful attitude towards others, and being a great role model. And I want to just present this young man to you, Mr. Logan Long.
I get a hold of it every time.
Got it open. Let's see, there's something here. Yeah, there you go.
He'll smack the wall and I'll smack the floor.
You notice I grab hold of it every time I sit there.
Thanks for being such a great student, Logan. Our next student recognition is from South Lawrence.
Hello. I am recognizing Katie Hartsfield tonight. She is a sixth grader, and our recognition is a little bit different than what Ms. Reedy did for Lyoma. It is an academic recognition, but specifically because of what some of our goals have been for this year. One of the goals that we had set for ourselves at South Lawrence was to increase our literacy, thinking that if we could increase fluency in reading comprehension, that it would help us to achieve increasing our achievement for the year on our state testing. So one of the things that we decided to do was implement the Millionaires Club. We already had, there are some other schools in the district already doing that, but we decided that we were going to put that in place, and we set several goals for the students because we wanted it to be a really big deal. So there were smaller things that they got, just so far as being announced when they reached 100,000 words, 200,000 words, along, those lines, up to the 1 million. But then when they reached 1 million, they were going to get a $1 million candy bar, a t-shirt that was showing that they were a millionaire. At the end of the year, we're going to have a millionaire's party, an ice cream sundae bar. So this was a school-wide goal for all of our students, and it was a year-end goal. Not to say that some of our students weren't going to reach it early, but realistically, it's not a goal that every student in the school achieves, even by the end of the year. And it's definitely not one that is easily earned. Well, the young lady that I'm recognizing tonight has been absolutely amazing as far as all of us at South Lawrence are concerned. Remember, I said the millionaire was a year-end goal. She reached 1 million words on August 24th of this school year. She reached 2 million words on October 11th of this school year. She reached 3 million words by January 28th of this school year. So if you know when it's March, she's rapidly approaching 4 million words. She, as of today, has 3,388,444 words. And it's not that we set the bar low, because there are only 2 other students in the school at this time that have reached the millionaire mark. One of them wasn't until December, and the other wasn't until January. So it is exceptional what Katie has been able to accomplish. On top of the fact that she has already read 3 million words, she has taken 51 tests to achieve that, passing all 51 with a 96% accuracy rate and scoring in our AR program 534 points just this year. So we think that is super amazing, and Miss Katie is who we are recognizing today. Okay, guys, here we go.
Great job, Katie. Thank you very much. Keep up the reading and get you a long way, that's for sure. Our next on the agenda tonight is TVA Lawrenceburg Utility.
I'm going to raise this up if y'all don't mind. First of all, I want to thank the board for letting us be here today. Mr. Atkins, thank you for having us today. My name is Lee Boyd. I'm the Communication Director for Lawrenceburg Utility Systems. And first of all, just to say that we really, really love our school system as a utility. We want to pour in to our school. We're very active with our schools in any way that we can. And so it's very important for us that our ratepayers are your students. And they will be our ratepayers one day when they become adults. And so we want to invest in them early. And so that's very important to us. So we actually went to Miss Anne-Marie Lambright, y'all know Miss Anne-Marie, and spoke to her. She's going back. And she's a rock star in my book because we tasked her with some grant writing for some money that was out there that the school systems could use for something that's not something you can budget in through STEM. And she knocked it out of the park. She got to with every school. She sat down with each one of the STEM teachers and the principals and said, what's your need? What can we do? Where do we need to go with it? And they got together and they wrote that. And so I'm going to turn it over now to Miss Lori Brown from TVA, and she can tell you the dividends of what Miss Anne-Marie did.
Thank you. Put this down just a little bit. I wish I were there. Yes, thank you for having us here tonight. I am very, and I have not had the opportunity to meet with Ms. Hunter yet, but as a token of appreciation to her, we are presenting $65,000 worth of checks tonight. So the funds are already there. This is just as a presentation, but it comes through Patel and TVA and the Bicentennial Volunteers, which is made up of TVA retirees. So with no further ado, I guess we will present the checks unless you all have questions. First one we want to call up is
There's a whole bunch of people here that need to go up.
Anne-Marie Lambright
We will, individually come.
to represent J.C. Barnett Center.
Yay! Now, where you can catch it. That's right. I love it. Okay, you guys.
So who got the money?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
School got a check. Larry, each school got a check.
The next person we have is Eric Barnett from E.O. Kaufman Middle.
These are
Kaufman,
individual
any representatives
grants.
from E.O. Kaufman here? Okay, next.
The next person I have is Carmen Kilburn from Davy Crockett Elementary.
Brenda.
Got it?
The next person I have is Bridget Campbell from Etheridge Elementary School.
Two, three.
The next one I have is Paula Davis, Ingram Sowell Elementary. Oh, you're fine. The next person is Samantha Childers with Lawrence County High School. The next one I have is Carter Henson with Lawrenceburg Elementary.
Just push that out of the way. Yeah, there you go. Much better. All right, guys, ready? Right.
65,000 total. It was 5,000 per school.
The next person I have is Chris Simpson with Lyoma Elementary School. Young Lee. All right. That's a wonderful STEM experience right there in itself. Mr. Nick Killen from Loretta High School. He's doing volleyball. Been there, done that. Mr. Greg Garrettson with New Prospect Elementary. Anytime, thank you for walking the ground.
Okay, guys, ready? 1, 2.
The next person I have is Eric Snyder with South Lawrence Elementary. You have to. Oh, all right.
Is also a soccer coach, so that is why he is.
He wears many hats, totally understand.
And the teacher that helped him is a soccer coach also. So here we are.
All right, ready?
I just retired from education after 26 years, so I know the various hats that we all wear. Courtney Dillard.
That is changed to your parents.
Thank you, sir. Town High School. Some good things in welding going on.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, guys, ready?
They used to know.
Thank you so much for allowing us to come and present these checks to your folks. And we encourage them to apply for just as many, if not more, next year. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You don't know how much that we at board appreciates that. It makes our job a lot easier whenever schools get money. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, and I will say, these teachers who are leaving and people who are leaving, we, TVA, put together some swag bags for you all. There's one here for each recipient, so.
Thank you so
hopefully
much.
they'll be able to use the posters in their classroom and the things that are in there. So thank you.
Mr.
very
White,
much.
if you'll carry them all out there for me.
Okay, moving forward, does anybody have anything to add in the agenda for tonight? I've got one thing to add under reports, if you would put it under G, Director's Evaluation. So, do I have a motion to approve A through E on the consent items? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Moving on to item number 2, report items. Under A, school reports, and that'll be South Lawrence. South Lawrence, again.
Okay, I have several different things I chose to kind of highlight tonight. It isn't necessarily all academic, but I did want to start with that. Our overall school grade for the 2021 year was a B. Our achievement on a scale of 1 to 4 was a 2, with that equating to a B. Our growth on a scale of 1 to 4 was a 4, which equates to an A. Chronic absenteeism was a 4, which also is an A. On the growth scale, which is a scale of 1 to 5, our overall composite was a 5. Our literacy was a 3, numeracy a 5, and literacy and numeracy combined a 5. Now, just hearing all of those, the majority of them sound like we're doing well, and I feel like we are. But the one area that you really only hear one time is the achievement, and that's where we're looking to improve, because it was the B. It was the 2 on a scale of 1 to 4. And that's where our students are actually scoring on track or mastered. So that has been our goal this year is, yes, we want to grow them, but we not only want to grow them, we want to grow them to where they're on grade level or above. So that's where part of what I was talking about earlier when I recognized Katie, we've tried to put things in place to increase reading fluency, reading comprehension. Our Millionaires Club is one of the things that we're very proud of. Also, we've implemented book buddies, and that's where our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students go down and read with our kindergarten through 3rd grade students. And our idea on that is it's going to help those 6th through 8th grade students so far as socialization and their confidence, but it's going to help the K through 3 with their actual reading. And we feel like that's getting stronger and it's helping our students. We also implemented something this past year called Kinder Boost, and it's where before the kindergartners actually start to school for 2 weeks in the summer, or actually it's 4 weeks in the summer, but it's 12 school days. They come and they spend half a day doing what we call learning school. and that helps us get a jump start at the beginning of the year, and we don't have as much learning lost time at the beginning. So that was also something that we were proud of. Also, to hopefully increase the achievement, we have tried to really focus on student conferencing, and hoping that that is going to increase student ownership, because we feel like our students need to buy in. It can't just be what's the teacher delivering. It needs to also be what are they putting forth. So that's some of the things that we're doing to hopefully improve that area there that isn't exactly what we would like for it to be. We offer Algebra 1 to our students. We have robotics. We also have a very active STEM after-school program. They do lots of awesome things. Another thing we have started doing this year is on morning announcements. We do a whole lot of academic accomplishments. It was that, you know, we would announce if the ball team had won, but we weren't announcing things like Katie. So we have started trying to really put a focus on the whole picture rather than, and sometimes it's just, you know, they've been kind to another student in the hall, that kind of thing. We did have some athletic highlights that we wanted to mention. One thing is we added a golf team this year, and the thing we were most proud about to do with that was that's including students that haven't been included in the past. There are very few of our golfers that were playing other sports. So that's reached some students that haven't been reached before. And then just our programs and their success. Our football team was conference champs this year. Our volleyball team was conference champs this year. Our girls basketball team was area champs with a record of 21-1. Boys team was area champs, sectionals champs, and state champs with a record of 25-0. And I know this is this year's report, but I just want to mention our girls team was actually state champs last year. So we were pretty proud of that, and the boys were runner-up in the state. So we feel like, I just felt like that should be mentioned. So for us, some things that we want to thank you all for. We are loving our keyless entry. We are very proud of the ceiling in our gym. And super, super excited about our parking lot. If you haven't seen it, please come see it because it is awesome. And we have gotten so many compliments since returning from spring break about that. We are excited about having the heating and cooling in our gym. We know that you all have done your part of making that happen. We're just still waiting on the end to, you know, it to actually happen. So we're excited about that. And then the other thing really is all to do with the combination of COVID, just combined with, I guess it kind of got our attention that the character of the students is hugely important, as much or more so than the academic piece. So we have tried to put several things in place just where we're working on lifting them up, recognizing things that maybe we didn't before. And sometimes it's things that's very, very simple, like we do birthday recognitions every day. And sadly, it's amazing sometimes how excited a child will get over something as simple as a pencil. Because where we think of, oh, you have cupcakes, oh, you have cake, oh, you go to your favorite restaurant, we honestly have students that birthday pencil that we hand them the morning of their birthday literally is the only recognition of their birthday. So we've started trying to do some more things like that to help the social emotional aspect. And I could go through several examples, but I don't want to take your time with all of them. One other I do want to mention that we're very proud of is we have started doing positive phone calls home, and that definitely makes parents proud. It also makes it much easier when we have to make a negative call because they've already received that positive call. But there's several initiatives like that we've started. But like I said, don't want to take too much of your time, but we're just trying to put more focus on the social emotional, feeling like in turn it will help their academic performance as well. Do any of you have anything for me?
Any questions for Ms. Davis?
I have a question for you, Ms. Snyder. I was very interested on your learning school initiative with your kindergarten. Is that something other schools in the county are doing? Where'd you pick up on that, and how'd you implement that?
It is through a organization called Save the Children. And I really just learned about it from someone in another district through one of my teachers. And I thought it sounded great, and I reached out to Mr. Atkins and said, is this something that you would consider allowing us to do? There's a lot of work that goes into it so far as making it happen, but there is no it doesn't cost Lawrence County Schools anything. But we started it last year. Save the Children actually has several programs. The one we chose to do, because we feel the majority, not minority, majority of our students do not come ready to learn. They haven't been read to, just various things. So that's why we chose Kinder Boost. Now, Save the Children in general, they offer several different things, but some of what they offer, it's more along the lines of what we're already doing, like through the TNL Court and ESSER funding. So that's why we also chose to do something with Kinder Boost. Is it something that other schools could do if they were interested and were willing to do what it takes to be able to do it and were approved? We actually have a call tomorrow, myself, Mr. Atkins, and Ms. Ellis, to see if we're going to be approved for this year. I'm hoping, because of the success last year, that call is to technicality. I hope that call is to tell us yes, but we won't really know until tomorrow.
So you've done it 1 year?
We did it, last year was our first year, yes.
And the benefit being your kindergartners, or that classroom got started to work of actual learning quicker than without having done this.
Yes, and one of the criteria, and they don't totally limit to it, but you only have a certain number of seats. And so one of the stipulations is they take give priority to students that have not been to daycare or to a pre-K. So that was something that we felt helped us. It wasn't that we didn't have some students interested that had been to a pre-K or an organized daycare, but the students that were selected first were the students that had spent birth to 4 at home outside of any type organized setting. So it really, we felt like helped from that aspect. Again, just the kind of learning school.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anything else from Ms. Snyder? Thank you very much. You're doing a great job out there. Thank you. Thank you. Moving on to B, personnel report. That was in the packet that you have. Any questions regarding that? Any comments? Thank you. Moving on to C, Mr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just finished up a session with TOSS in Nashville these last 2 days. I want to report to you that TISA, the proposed new school funding formula from the legislators who visited with us, said there seems to be a push that will go through. There's going to be some modifications, and they'll send information out to the district, but it seems to be that TISA will replace BEP maybe 23, 24. Now, as I say that, anything could happen with the legislature, and tomorrow it could be different. But right now, that seems to be favorable. The building projects, Loretta High School, they've started on some work down there. I'm not sure they've broken ground yet, but there's some barriers up, some other things that are taking place. Summertown and E.O. Kaufman are progressing nicely. I think E.O. Kaufman trusses may be up. It may be completed today. So that's coming along. Both of those projects are out of, and then our phase 1 capital projects, we're closing out some of those. Mrs. Snyder talked about the parking lot at South Lawrence. There's a number of things that have happened. Mr. Mabry at Summertown Elementary's restrooms, Mr. Brown and his crew are working on those projects, so a lot of good things happening. And then we're already developing a phase 2 capital improvements projects list that we'll share with the board as we work through that. Our summer school plans, Mrs. Ridgway has worked with our schools, our teachers, asking them for involvement and participation in that. I believe we're going to do well once again with our summer school program. And of course, we're getting close to the budget cycle. Mrs. Elledge and I have been talking about that, working that. We'll have a meeting with the county commissioners about that, and we'll schedule also a work session with the board once we get the budget finalized, the presentation to you folks. I do want to finish up and talk about some academics. I asked Mrs. Ridgway to pull some information for me today. Two programs that we purchased through ESSER dollars. Achieve 3000 it's a reading program, and from the beginning of the school year till present time, one of those data points is college and career readiness, something that's very important to what we do in this profession. Get them ready for college, get them ready for a career. We've seen an 18.3% increase since the start of school to presently with that program, and that speaks volumes about the men and women teaching our kids, but it speaks volumes about the investment by this board to the importance of reading and giving our teachers what they need to be successful. Another program is iReady, and we're seeing consistent growth in mathematics in those areas. But I think what is so important is what a teacher said. In their 22 years of teaching, this iReady program is the strongest program that she's had in 22 years. And that's what we're putting in the hands of our teachers, and that's what they're providing our students, and we're going to see success from that. So I wanted to share those two programs with you and the success of our kids and the great work being done by the men and women of the Lawrence County School System. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Michael. Going on to D, Executive Committee. I believe me and Michael approve two out of those items is volunteers and technology purchase of ESSER 3.0. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Mack?
No, sir.
Very well. Any questions on the Executive Committee? Moving on to item E, LCEA. Is there anything, anybody here? No? Moving on to F, Tennessee Legislative Network. Brenda, do you have anything to add? Very well. Mr. Plant, do you have anything to add?
Nothing other than just what the director said. This funding formula is still kind of flexible. There's all sorts of stuff in it. There's provisions in there for children who are in concentrated poverty, for rural areas we may or may not qualify because of the number of students involved. There's also some bonus in there for charter schools. There's all kinds of things in there that you all need to be aware of, because this is only going to happen one time. And you all need to go online or whatever you need to do to familiarize yourself with what's being planned. And if you don't like it, get to hear your representative right now. Because once it happens, it's going to happen. The governor's pushing strong for this. I'm not saying it's bad or it's good. I'm just saying you need to know. So take it upon yourself, get online and find out what it says. And whether you think it benefits Lawrence County, Tennessee, is all I'm asking you to do. And then if you need help with the public, getting in our representatives' ears, let the public know what your concerns are and why, and I think you'll find that help. But first, you all got to familiarize yourself with it.
Thank you. Any questions for Paul or Brenda? Very well. Moving on to G, I want to just add that I have received 7 out of the 9 directors' evaluations. I have not tallied them yet. I'm waiting for all 9. I would like to if you haven't turned them in, please do so and give them to the office or drop them off at my house or to that effect. And I'll give it 1 more week. If I don't receive all 9, I'll just go ahead and tally what I got, and the 2 that I'm missing, I'll just add all 5s. So if you haven't turned them in, just please turn them in. And also, on that effect, I think the state gave us our tallies for the board evaluations, and I think everybody has a copy of that. So if you haven't, get with Ms. Method and she'll resend it, or I will ask the state to resend it to us. I did open it up. I haven't gone into detail about it, but I think it's pretty favorable.
I don't think any of us got it.
Have you not? Okay.
No.
Well, I'll ask Ms. Method. You haven't? Okay. So I'll ask Ms. Method to send it to y'all, and we'll go from there. And we'll reevaluate it, and if you have any questions for next board meeting, we'll address it then. And any questions before we move on to that effect? Thank you very much. Item number 3, budget items for consideration. And then we only have 1 on that, is capturing kids' hearts.
Mr. Chairman, this is a program that we are participating in. The funding is coming from the state based on our participation with ESSER dollars, being a district that is showing promise and doing the things best for all district, and would ask the board to approve this. This is something that will kind of give a uniform language to the way our teachers interact with kids, our principals. We see this as a part of the social, emotional, and beneficial to both teachers and students.
Move, we approve.
I got a motion on the floor to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Are there any questions regarding Capture Kids' Hearts? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I'm sorry, does that add any money? Do we need a? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to 4 personnel items for consideration. And under 1A is substitute management system. Mr. Atkins?
This is something that Mrs. Thompson has worked on, and I've heard from teachers when I'm out and about in buildings. Our current system is very difficult for teachers. It is a 20th century approach of grab a phone and call till you find somebody. And we would like to put this in place to, one, make it easier for our teachers, make it easier for those who sub for us, and it also allows record keeping to have more control and be aware of what's happening with subs and with teachers and so forth. I think it's a very good idea. I think it's a strong program. Mrs. Thompson did the legwork on finding one that would marry the current data management system, and I'd present it to the board for approval.
Move to approve.
I got a motion on the floor to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Are there any questions for Mr. Atkins on this? Please call roll.
Caruso.
Aye.
Daniel.
Yes.
Davis.
Aye.
Dryden.
Yes.
Hartsfield.
Yes.
Jacobs. Mabry.
Aye.
Nidert.
Yes.
8 ayes.
Motion carries. Moving on to food service items for consideration. The commodity bids.
Mr. Chairman, we have Mrs. Simpson here tonight to address this and answer any questions.
This is the commodity processing bid that I usually bring to you around this time of year. Now, before you look at these numbers, realize we participate with 14 other districts across Middle and East Tennessee, so this total includes all of us. It's not just Lawrence County numbers. And this is where we divert our raw commodity products to get ready-to-use products like our hamburger patties, egg patties, our chicken fillets, things of that nature. It gives us more control over what we get and typically when we can get it.
Do I have a motion on the floor to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I've got a motion on the floor and a second. Are there any questions for Ms. Simpson? Please call roll.
Caruso.
Aye.
Daniel.
Yes.
Davis.
Aye.
Dryden.
Yes.
Hartsfield.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Mabry.
Aye.
Nidert.
Yes.
8 ayes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Keep up your good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 5, facility items for consideration. A, request permission for construct an outdoor classroom in Summertown Elementary.
Mr. Chairman, this is something that Mr. Mabry and the folks at Summertown Elementary are funding on their own. They're putting forth the effort, the fundraising effort. They have plans to work with Summertown High School's Building and Trades and others. The cost to the system is zero. They're fundraising and doing. There will be a point where our maintenance may have to assist with some of the electrical or something of that nature, but that's further down the road. What we're asking tonight is permission from the board for Mr. Mabry and Summertown Elementary to proceed with constructing this on the campus, building it on the campus.
Move to approve.
Second.
I got a motion on the floor to approve. A second. Is any questions for Mr. Mabry or Mr. Atkins?
Mr. Mabry, where on your campus is this going exactly?
It'll be out there adjacent to the greenhouse, between the basketball courts and the softball field, right beside the greenhouse.
Is it similar to the outdoor classroom that's at Ingram South, or something totally different?
Well, their outdoor classroom is enclosed. Ours will be more of a,
Pavilion?
right.
Any further questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to B, Lawrenceburg Public Elementary School parking lot bids.
Mr. Chairman, this is a part of our Phase 1 of correcting some issues at our schools. You heard one school tonight speak about the parking lot being paved at their campus. This is a part of that as well. It was previously approved, the dollars were previously approved through Phase 1 in June, and now we're unfortunately just now getting to the point where we can get this done.
Move to approve.
I got a motion on the floor to approve.
Second.
I have a second. Any questions? I have one question or concern. I believe the blocks that they put out there are recently new. Will they be destroyed in new ones, or are they going to save those, or what?
Are you talking about like the parking
Yeah, the
bumpers?
parking blocks, yes.
We will probably end up buying some of those.
Okay.
We have taken those that were removed from Lawrenceburg Public and placed them at Loretta High School. Due to the construction of the gym, they needed extra parking, so there's a parking lot behind their greenhouse, if you're familiar with the campus, by the walking track, practice football field, and we're going to use those bumpers there to control teenage drivers as much as we possibly can in that area there.
Good luck with that. I got a motion and a second. Please call roll. Are there any other questions? I'm sorry. Please call roll.
Caruso,
Aye.
Daniel,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Dryden,
Yes.
Hartsfield,
Yes.
Jacobs,
Yes.
Mabry,
Aye.
Nidert,
Yes.
8 ayes.
Motion carries. Moving on to C, new prospect abatement bid.
Mr. Chairman, this is a part of what will become our Phase 2 projects. This item and the one to follow, in effort to minimize the disruption to the learning environment at New Prospect, that older wing is in need of some repair. And we made some repairs with heating and cooling. And when we did that, there was some old radiator-type heaters in the hallways that were removed. And when we removed those, there was some asbestos and some other things, and we have done the things that need to be done when that happens. But we want to proceed now in correcting that issue at New Prospect, and also the following item as well. This summer, we do not want to carry it over into the fall, especially removing asbestos in a building and kids being in the building. Now, you might ask, what about summer school? Dr. Jones is able to move her students into a newer wing while this wing is being corrected. So that is what this is about.
Okay, question, is this something that our maintenance crew will do?
They will do some of the work, but not the abatement, not the removal of asbestos. We had to bid that out.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion, can we make a motion to approve both C and D?
Sure, go ahead and continue with D, please.
Mr. Chairman, that is a part of the work that needs to be done there. The funds will come through current savings in this year's budget. Mrs. Elledge has ran the numbers, and she will amend the budget, but it will be dropping some ceilings, replacing some windows that have asbestos in there as well. So we feel like this is a needed project, and if you've been in that older wing, you know what we're talking about. It's dated. This will be a much needed improvement, better air circulation, quality of air, so forth and so on, will be now in that older wing.
So both of C and D are tied together.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve both items C and D.
I have a motion on the floor to approve the abatement bid and the middle wing renovation. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Very well. I think they're both items that require money, so we're going to do a separate, motions are together, but I would like to have a roll call separately. So this is on the abatement.
Caruso,
Aye.
Daniel,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Dryden,
Yes.
Hartsfield,
Yes.
Jacobs,
Yes.
Mabry,
Aye.
Nidert,
Yes.
8 ayes.
Thank you very much. And on the middle wing.
Caruso,
Aye.
Daniel,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Dryden,
Yes.
Hartsfield,
Yes.
Jacobs,
Yes.
Mabry, Nidert,
Yes.
8 ayes.
Thank you, motion approved. Going on to E, South Lawrence School Gym Floor renovation funded by the school.
Mr. Chairman, this comes before the board from time to time where a school would like to refurbish their gym floor. They receive bids from various companies, and then they make the decision. And Mrs. Snyder sent this to me this week. She spoke about having trouble getting quotes in and so forth, and she is prepared to fund this out of school dollars and take care of the renovations and oversee the project.
Excuse me. Do I have a motion to approve?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
We've been discussing financing some of the projects that schools do. I don't know if you've ever worked that out, Mr. Atkins, on the policy or not, but could a request for support in part of this be part of that policy?
Yeah, I believe our program that we have in place to assist schools with that, if they wanted to make that application to us, definitely take it under consideration, and we want to be consistent with that, of course. But yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
So if that's the case, do you want to remove this and come back with another suggestion, or go ahead with it to have the school fund it all?
Question. What would be the likelihood of there being some assistance? And the reason I ask that is we have a discount that is offered if we take care of it early enough. That was one reason I was wanting to go ahead and get that in. So I wouldn't want to miss out on the discount and have to turn around and fund it as well. Does that make sense?
That does.
Could we not approve them to go ahead with it, and then if she submits an application requesting it and it's approved, then that be applied back to them? I don't know.
I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure we could. So do I have a motion?
I really wouldn't want you all to miss the discount either.
Yeah, I agree.
Discount regardless of whom is footing the bill.
Very well. So do I have a motion to approve?
I have another question though, but we open this door, we're gonna basically split the resurfacing of every gym in the school system.
Yeah, and Mrs. Elgin, I was just reminding me, I think we had a request from a school to use some of those dollars for a gym floor, and I denied that. I wanted it to be something that lasted. If it was an awning or part of a parking lot or something to that effect. I don't know that I was aiming for a refurbishing.
I mean, for the board in the conversation, I'm fine. But if we open this door, then we're not going to shut it.
No, we need to do it for everybody if we're going to do it, yeah.
But aren't we limited to one time?
One
So whatever they
project,
use
it's one
it for.
project.
Right.
If they choose that to be the floor, then that would be.
Well, the resurfacing of school, are we talking about?
It's the sand and finish is what it's called. It isn't what you do yearly, it's what you have to do about every 10 years. And one reason it probably has been brought before you guys before, I know it's been conversation about principals, the PE classes in the gym are what provide most of the wear and tear. Like your volleyball team and your basketball team, that's not where your gym floor is worn out. It's from the continual PE classes. So it's kind of been viewed as, it's kind of a classroom as well as an athletic facility. So I know there have been other requests, because there are other principals that have told me that they have requested kind of along the lines of, it's a classroom in the building, but I also know it's been denied before. So I need the gym floor redone regardless of who's gonna pay for it.
Exactly.
It's bad. We had like a skating rink by the end of this season.
Ricky, since you're here, you can correct me, because I know your involvement with the weekend league, the Saturday league, but in the summertime, the Saturday league does this, pays for this, is this correct?
Different times, like we're planning on doing our floor, and the school was planning on paying for it because.
Just like South Florida.
Right, but in the past, we have split it with the Saturday league, we have split it with the high school since they use our gym. It's just wherever we can find the money.
But most of your wear and tear, you agree with Ms. Snyder, comes from PE classes and not the sports.
650 kids every day.
Yeah.
So do I have a motion to approve?
I already made the motion.
We already have a motion. Do I have a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second.
I have one.
And now
comment,
I
please.
should ask for questions. Go ahead.
I noticed on the list that she has down here going back to being used for PE. If you'll look at the list, it doesn't only include basketball. It includes having for shuffleboard, bowling lanes, different things that could be used with PE classes. So it's not just basketball that this will concern. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, but it, I don't know how the quote reads, but it is basketball, volleyball, but then
There's additions
foursquare,
that-
shuffleboard, agility ladders. I mean, without having it in front of me, I can't name all of it.
It's different things that would go with PE.
Basketball, volleyball, and then, yes, my PE teachers were actually in the meeting where we requested the quotes because we wanted to.
Are those things that you just mentioned, are they in the sidelines?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mabry, you have a question?
Point of order, what exactly are we going to be voting on here?
Well, that was my next statement. Now, understanding we are voting to have her approve the coating of her gym at her expense. That is the motion, correct? Okay. Okay. That is correct. That's what you're asking for, right?
That was my
Okay,
original
thank you,
request.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
And she can
Is that-
always make application for the other part if.
Well, not if she paid it for it. I mean, I guess she could,
But
but
all we're approving right now, I mean, what I seconded is we're approving her to take this on her own. and do it.
that's correct. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Caruso, do you feel like I should withdraw that request?
Well, I can't answer. I'm only one vote, so if you want, I got a motion on the floor in a second at this time, so.
Could you possibly
if
Mr.
you-
Chairman.
Go ahead.
Mr. Atkins, what's your recommendation?
I'm trying to gather in my head past practice on this, and I believe just this year, a school was told you will have to cover the cost of this yourself. That was not a part of the initial idea of the $10,000 allotment to help a school. That gym floors were really not what we were looking at. It was more of something, an awning, a covering of a patio, maybe a walkway, something that would, that was more the lines that I was thinking.
Go ahead, John.
I'd like to keep the floor open for a few more questions and discussion with the board, but because Mr. Atkins, I will bounce back the idea that I would consider this is a safety issue in our PE classes. You said that you've got a skating rink out there and kids are sliding around, so our gym floors are being wore out, and if we don't keep them up to date and refreshed, which has got to happen every 10 years, you said around about 10 years, if we don't do this, then we could be having injuries during our PE classes. So this is not about basketball or volleyball. This is about PE and the utilization of our gyms in this county. Why would we as a board, our schools have a hard enough time making ends meet and having to raise funds every time you turn around, and to me this is a Lawrence County School Board issue, and I'll just state it like that. Footing half the bill is, I think we ought to support that, in my opinion.
Any further questions? Go ahead, Nikki.
I know in the past, I think over the old coffin, if my memory serves me correctly, I know the school raised the funds and paid for that gym over there. The floor would be finished and painted over there. So if we're gonna do this, we're gonna be setting precedent, what we're gonna be doing from now on. So that's what we'll be voting on if we do that. Be careful.
Any other further questions?
Mr. Caruso,
Go ahead, Mr. Davis.
I've been beating this horse since the middle 90s. This is a maintenance issue that the school system should be responsible for. If the roof leaks, we don't tell the school to fix it. If the art room needs new flooring, we don't tell them to floor it. Most of the time, to be honest with you, our buildings, and y'all probably already know this, how do our buildings get painted on the inside? If we're lucky, the school will pay for the paint, and the teacher will come in and paint. But to me, this is always has been a maintenance issue that we need to take the responsibility for. But like I said, I've lost this battle for 30 years.
So are you going to rescind your motion? Or we're gonna leave it?
No, I mean, they're gonna have to do their
Okay.
floors.
I got one more question from Brenda.
Well, I guess I got a question and a statement. I can understand not doing it if you just wanted your floor shinier. Just a yearly housekeeping thing. But as she said, her gym floor is getting dangerous. This is a 10-year thing, not just a 1 year. And I would be willing to, I don't know whether I made the motion or seconded it, but would there be a way we could amend it that if funds were available, she could get them?
Are you making that as an amendment?
I'm asking a question right now.
Well, I'm asking a question, are you amending it?
If I could, if
Well, I
we
can't
could
tell
do
you,
that,
I can't
will.
tell you that. I've got to have an amendment first.
I'd like to amend it then,
Do I have a second on her amendment? What is your amendment, please?
that if funds are available, we apply to getting this gym floor fixed.
The total funds?
Whatever's available, whatever, I think, what is it, 10,000 that we pay or half? We either pay half or 10,000.
What is it, 10,000 or half?
It's no more than 10,000.
No more than 10.
Do I have a second for the
Well, on
amendment?
my second, let me make sure I understand.
Okay,
Your amendment is to allow her to apply and either be accepted or rejected on that 10,000. I'll maintain my
so
second.
we have a motion on the floor for amended to ask for funds for half or 10,000? Because half is going to only be 7. 10,000. Now I have a second. Are there any questions regarding the amendment?
Well, I've got a question. I heard the comment made if we had the funds. Well, we have the funds for this, but the next school comes up. I know some schools that need some work done on the gym floor. We don't have the funds, so we're just gonna say we don't have the funds. You can't do yours. I mean, I'm for getting the floors fixed, but I want you to understand what I'm
Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
saying.
So we're treating this, refinishing this gym floor like a awning or a sidewalk, like you mentioned. It's gonna be treated just like that,
As a necessity.
as a necessity. Well, as something that the school. See, I'm kind of with Mr. Davis on this. It just seems like that should be the responsibility of the board to maintain those floors. I mean, we maintain roofs and walls and windows and everything else. Well, I don't see the difference between a floor.
Any more questions on the amendment? Please call roll. Oh, you have one more? I'm sorry. Please call roll on the amendment.
So
I want to
the,
restate it, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
What it is.
so the amendment, as I understand it to be, is to fund up to $10,000 on the South Lawrence Gymnasium floor refinishing project.
Is that what you want, Ms. Jacobs?
Redoing it, not just refinishing it. It's a major project. It's
Well,
not just.
if you,
Yes,
well, we're talking
that's
about two different things. If
No,
redoing it's
that's
gonna
my-
cost a lot more than 15,000.
What
Is
she
that
asked
correct?
for.
Okay. But we're asking for $10,000 to do this, not another project to do the whole floor, correct? Is that correct?
This is the full floor, isn't it?
And that's approving it with approval of her application, is that right?
Right.
And if the application is denied, then
Mr.
she
Chairman,
don't
you
get
got a
it.
point of order here. You have an amendment to the
That's
motion.
right, correct.
As I understand it, the amendment is to do it and pay for it. Is that the amendment?
Up to 10,000, is that
Up to
correct?
$10,000.
That's correct. And I have
You
a
have a
second.
second to that amendment?
Let's vote,
Y'all need to
please.
vote on that, and then you can decide what you want to do, whether you want to approve it or not.
Take roll.
They take care of it.
Can I, just pardon me, Mr. Chairman, because I'm struggling with how I need to vote. And the reason I'm struggling with how I need to vote is because I stand in the same camp that Mr. Neidert and Mr. Davis is. I believe that I've read Mr. Hartsfield to be in that same mindset, that we believe this ought to be a school board responsibility. So if I vote yes, then I'm saying, no, it's not a school board responsibility. We're going to help a school pay for it.
That is correct.
So
Please,
if I want the school board to pay 100%, then I need to vote no for this motion. Is that, somebody help me understand
please
where
restate.
I need to be standing, because I don't know where to stand right now.
The motion, as you have it before you, as I understand it, you initial motion is to approve the request of let them do it.
Yes.
That's correct.
The amendment is to let them do it and pay for it up to X dollars.
That's correct. Up to $10,000.
That's all you have before you.
That's correct.
Now, the question that I think you're addressing is, I don't know where this money comes from. What are you saying? It's a special project money. That each school has X dollars of it. The question is, if they use it here, they won't have it somewhere else. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, is there a policy in Lawrence County School Board that says South Lawrence and Ingram Sal and all these schools have to pay for their own gym floor? I mean, do we have any type of policy that says, do we need to revisit and say, hey, we're going to take back over these gym floors? Mr. Davis?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I think Mr. Daniel is 100% correct in where he's going. I withdraw my second to the amendment.
I withdraw my amendment,
She withdraws the amendment.
but now where are we at?
Well, we're back to approving her doing it. I think this is an issue.
That's right.
Yeah,
So-
Mr.
so
Daniel,
the
this is an
amendment-
issue we need to discuss.
So the amendment-
We're going
that's
to cover
right.
these floors or we're not.
That's
Period.
right.
Thank
So-
you.
So the amendment has been drawn for covering up to $10,000 for this project and the second. So going back to the original motion, we have a motion on the floor and a second to approve the refurbishing of this gym. Take roll, please.
And that was funded by the school?
That's funded by the schools,
Okay,
yes.
just make sure
As
everyone's
she
clear on that.
requested, yes.
As she requested, yes.
Okay.
What you got before you?
Caruso.
No.
Daniel.
No.
Davis.
No.
Dryden.
Yes.
Hartsfield.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Pass.
Mabry. Nodder.
No.
4 no, 3 yes, 1 pass.
Motion fails.
Motion fails.
Can I make a suggestion? I would suggest to come back and ask for the board to pay for all. That would be my suggestion. Am I correct on that, board? And that's what I'm seeing, or that's what I'm hearing from y'all, that it's not the school's responsibility to upkeep and upgrade these gyms, because it is a safety hazard, and it is a board's responsibility upkeep these gyms. So, help me out. Go ahead.
Yeah, can I make a suggestion to Mr. Atkins, and can you sit down with the principals, and you having extensive experience?
All principals, that's correct.
Figure out a plan that says South Lawrence needs to do it this year, Summertown needs to do it this year, E.O. Kaufman needs to do it next, figure out a maintenance plan for these gym floors, so that we're not, as a board, having to pay for every school's gym floor
that's right,
at one
That's
time,
right,
but
that's
put
right.
these things on a plan, and let's maintain them and take them over, and present to us your recommendation from that standpoint.
I agree. Good choice. And Ms. Snyder, if you have somebody that's going to do this, I'm pretty sure they're willing to do it again, but not, and give you that discount later on in the system. I just have a feeling for that.
She should
But-
proceed.
Mr. Caruso,
Go ahead.
how many gym floors do we have in this county?
13
7.
presently,
That's high school, middle school,
and
elementary school.
J.C. Barnett.
13.
Am I missing one?
I think that's it.
Soon to be 14.
Soon to be 14.
Go ahead, Ms. Davis.
Okay, I have a question for Ms. Snyder in terms of what does this do about, you're going to lose money if we don't approve you to do your floor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, my thing is, like Mr. Dan, I think this needs to be an issue we take up on responsibility for gym floors separate from her problem.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to entertain a motion on this issue. We approve her going on with the floor, no question about whether we support it, pay into it, anything else, separate from what we do need to let Mr. Atkins work on. I do think we need a rotating plan. I'm going to throw this in too. New paved parking lots we're doing. If they're not sealed and maintained, they'll be just like they were in no time at all. So that needs to be a rotating thing too, that the board deals with on a constant basis, not wait till they come all to pieces and then replace them. And that's what's happening to these floors, is they're getting down to where they're ice skating rink for PE or for whatever, and kids are gonna get hurt if we don't take care of it. So, and the schools take care of it. I did it for years at Lyoma and South Lawrence, as you can come up with the money to do it, and sometimes it goes 2 or 3 years past needing badly to be done before you can afford it.
The money or the volunteers or whatever you can get.
Yeah. But if it's not out of order, I would like for this question that we're looking at here, just to approve her getting her floor done so she doesn't lose the discount. I move that we approve that.
Robert's rules requires
Yeah,
that a member of the winning side must make that motion, and the second from the winning side, and then you go forward.
We won with the noes, correct?
That's correct.
We'll
It
get
was-
to that. If
So
you voted with
that's
the
my
noes,
motion.
I'm second.
Mr. Crusoe,
Go ahead.
I don't have a problem at all if the school board wants to take over finishing floors. That's fine. If the idea of having it staggered, that's fine too. But if we're gonna start paying for one, we need to be prepared to pay for every one of them.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And my quick math here, that's $175,000
Over a 10-year time frame.
if you do them in 10 years. Now, I don't have a problem with it. Don't misunderstand. But if we're gonna start doing that as a policy, then whenever any of these schools come forward, there is no argument about it, we just do it.
When we set this up as a policy, my suggestion and recommendation to Mr. Atkins about time, the board's only gonna pay for it when it has to be totally redone. The ceiling about every 2 or 3 years, how much does that run?
That's why I was standing, and I wanted to make sure everybody understood, because there's 3 processes. There is the annual, where you're just kind of what she was referencing to, of making it look better, but that is also a maintenance. But I've never talked to any school that had an issue with that. Then there's the 8 to 12 year, and it's called, the yearly is called screen and coat. The 8 to 12 year is called sand and finish. Then, if you don't sand and finish, you end up having to totally demolition, which is literally over $100,000. So that's huge, like we would never want any school to get to that shape. But we do need to be clear, we're not talking the yearly screen and coat, we're talking the 8 to 12 years, depending on how it's maintained, sand and finish. I don't think any principal would ask that screen and coat be done. I mean, we can manage that. It's the $15,000, and $15,223, I think was my quote. That was the least expensive. I mean, there were quotes that were 22 and 23. I actually had one quote that was 51. I didn't even submit it. So this is an expensive process. And really, those lines for PE are the only extras that we asked for, because we want PE to be able to use it as well as athletic. So I just wanted to make sure you all understood the different processes.
Go ahead, Nikki.
Mr. Mabry gave that figure on the floors for the whole county. But I know of a school now that where the boards in the gym, when you dribble a basketball, they've bugged up so it hits the board, it goes right or left. So some of those floors will, and I'm for getting the floors fixed, don't get me wrong, but there's gonna be some that's gonna be really expensive when you start taking all the boards up. Sometimes you can sand them down, sometimes you can't.
Very well, thank you. According to Robert's rules, we have a revisited of this issue of the losing.
Motion to reconsider.
Motion to reconsider. Okay, we do have that motion.
Successful party.
We do have that motion because it was 4-3 and turned down.
And the
Do we have a
second is by the successful party or the winning party.
Very well, so we have a motion to approve and a second. Are there any questions regarding the reissue? Go ahead.
I just want some clarification. We are about to vote on the motion, the original motion actually, is what we're about to do.
That is correct.
In reference to Ms. Snyder's request to proceed with the project that she has suggested
That is correct, Mr. Drum. Any other
Also,
questions? Oh, I'm sorry.
also, did I understand earlier in this discussion that other schools have followed the same course in recent months or years?
Of
And
applying.
come back later, and then come back later and request some of the funds that have been referenced here?
Not for a gym floor.
Okay.
The request for us to pay for the entire project has been denied.
Denied,
Yes.
okay.
Please call roll.
Caruso,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Dryden.
Yes.
Hartsfield.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Mabry. Nidert.
Yes.
8 ayes.
Congratulations, Ms. Snyder.
I did not mean for all that.
No, you're fine, you're fine. So, so you got a new floor.
So before we leave that, I'm sorry, Mr.
Now,
Chairman.
go ahead, you're
just-
fine.
Mr. Atkins, are you going to go back and pull a plan and present to the board on what we need to do going forward with, is the board going to take over these gym floors going forward, or are we not?
I think what I'm going to find out is what school is needing a complete job as Mrs. Snyder is requesting. If they've done that, if they're anticipating doing that, and kind of see where we are. Who's thinking they're going to be doing that, or who was thinking they were going to be doing that versus who now says, I need to do that. You know,
And if we got, to Mr. Hartfield's point, if we've got gym floors that's got buckled up boards, you know, is that not a safety, I mean, that's something we need to address.
John, have the floor, please.
And we are addressing, I believe I'm familiar with the school, that it was brought to our attention, and I think that's a humidity issue that's created some concern there, that it is correctable at this point, but it may not be if we don't address the humidity issue.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Any sidebar conversation? Y'all are good? Very well. Moving on to number 7, policy items for consideration. We have policy 3.405, commercial advertising on school buses, and policy 5.310, vacation and holidays. Does anybody have any questions regarding any of those?
Move to approve both A and B.
Second.
I've got a motion to approve A and B in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Moving on to item 8, other items for consideration is bus advertisement. Mr. Atkins.
Mr. Chairman, what I'm asking is for the board to give me permission to enter into a contract with a company that provides the signage. They do the recruiting of local businesses. All is within the laws of the state. They follow those laws. They maintain, they do the recruiting, and we receive a certain dollar amount for every sign that goes on every bus. And we'd like to use those dollars to assist transportation with some concerns they have, and also other projects in the system.
Do we have a motion on the floor to approve?
I've got it.
Let's can we get a motion first? What's your concern?
Will that money, if we approve this, will that money be earmarked to be spent on the transportation department, or you know, buying buses or whatever? I know it's.
Yeah, initially, we would like to use the dollars to replace an outdated camera system that's in our buses in student transportation. We would like to, if the participation of the community is there, those dollars is what we'd like to use, generate and use for.
Once again, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion on the floor to approve. Will I have a second?
Second.
And I have a second. Once again, do I have any more further questions or comments? I would like to make a comment on, when I saw this, I believe it was two months ago, and I think it's going to be a win-win situation for all, because advertisement is a crucial thing for any business, and it's just a win-win for all. They're getting some good advertisement for inexpensive, and we're getting the dollars from it. So, in my opinion, it's a win-win situation. Call roll, please.
Mr. Caruso?
Aye.
Daniel?
Yes.
Davis?
Yes.
Dryden?
Yes.
Hartsfield?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mabry?
Aye.
Nidert?
Yes.
8 ayes.
Motion passed. Moving on, next board meeting will be the 21st of April at 5 o'clock. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion adjourned.